What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 9 of the Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast. On with me this week, I got David Stern from Devil Dog Outdoors. How's it going, man?
It's going, brother. It is going.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. And, me and him's done some talking before we started hitting the record button. But, I talk a lot of whitetails every week. It's a different face, but kind of the same conversation. And this week I wanted to do something a little different than I've been kind of wanting to do for a while now. I want to do a social media show as far as the outdoors goes. There's a lot of people like me and David himself that, have outdoor content, so to speak, and just wanted to talk about the positives of that and the negatives of that, and just everything kind of surrounding social media and the outdoors industry as a whole. But I think David would be a perfect person for this conversation. That's why I reached out to him. He's big on the TikTok and goes through a lot of conversations on that with a lot of positives, and he's got a couple negatives, not towards him, but people that are negative towards him. And I would like just to have a conversation with him and pick his brain on some of these topics. But how did you get started in the outdoors? That's my first question every week. I love the answers that I get. So how'd you get started?
For sure, a family thing. It was so I grew up in a city. I'm not really from the country, like at all in any way whatsoever. Like I grew up in the middle of, well, not really the middle, more like the outside of Baltimore City, which is like the most dangerous city in Maryland. And the way that I was brought up, my parents, they were going through a divorce at a really young age. My grandfather was outdoors hunting. My uncle outdoors hunting, and my dad, they were outdoors hunting. I mean, I feel like it just ran through my blood. Like there was no escaping this lifestyle. Even though you grew up in the middle of a city, like it was that southern hospitality that, going out and actually trying to provide for your family. That's one thing that my grandfather, my uncle, and my dad always taught me coming up, always be the man in the house, provide for your family. And this is one of the ways that we do so, hunting and fishing. So when it came to hunting, I mean, it just kind of clicked with me. I mean, if you ask my dad to this day, I hope to God he sees this. He always said that when I was younger, like a child growing up where I needed to be babysat, he said the best way to have you sit the hell still and not move was to put in a VHS of either hunting or fishing. You wouldn't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you said that you were from Maryland, and we've talked before, and you said that you served in the Marine Corps. Thank you for your service, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little background on you.
So, born and raised Baltimore, Maryland. Moved out of Baltimore and I lived in Pasadena for a little while. And I did middle school and high school out there. Um, as a younger kid, I was bullied a lot in school because of my size. I'm not a really big guy, and I don't
Hmm.
think I ever really will be. 5'7", 140 on a good day. And I mean, it just kind of got to me. I wanted to start this outdoor show thing when I was in high school. It just kind of clicked in my head, and I think it was like my freshman year. Me and my buddy Will Crane. The crazy thing about this is my dad is now getting married to his mom, which is
Oh, that's
pretty weird.
awesome.
But yeah, we started like an outdoor thing. It was called webs.com or wetpaint.com, something like that. It was like some website creator that you could do. We ended up doing that. I forgot what the hell we called it. I believe it was Pasadena Outdoors. I think that's what we called it. And I wanted to get out there and just do like my own show. Because like I said, as a kid growing up, that's what I used to watch with my grandfather all the time. All the Real Tree and Mossy Oak guys on VHS. Like
Oh
we
yeah.
used to watch that stuff all the time. And it never really went anywhere, obviously. So come senior year, uh, I got a buddy of mine. We ended up coming up with another outdoor show. It was called Fletching and Catching Outdoors. And that one we kind of did a little bit more. We did some fishing, we did a little bit of hunting, and then I ended up going into the Marine Corps. So from there, it was 5 years of my life being outdoors hunting and fishing was just kind of taken away, like I
Right.
wasn't really able to get out there as much being active duty. And it was it was tough. I tried to get out there as much as I could, and I didn't want to use my service as a way to gain followers. I created Devil Dog Outdoors my first year in. I was in MOS school, and it just clicked. I was like, who doesn't know what a devil dog is? Like, that's me. Like,
Right.
as a Marine. So I was like, Devil Dog Outdoors. Like, that just flows. I like this. So then I started creating logos. I had a website at one point. I paid like $350 for just 2 years to own the domain. And then I stopped paying on that because it just wasn't going nowhere. So I was like, all right, yeah,
Right.
we're not that big yet. There's really no point in having this. And I'm not really getting out there as much. So we just stuck to the whole YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And my initial like plan with Devil Dog Outdoors was to create the biggest outdoor sports team in hunting and fishing industries. And it would include any and all active duty service member, reservist, or retired military veteran. Like I wanted it to be like for the military outdoor community, that kind of thing.
Right.
And all they would have to do was send me their videos, their photos, or whatever, and I would post it up. I would obviously give them credit for all of their videos, all of their photos, and I would have like this huge roster of people who've sent their stuff in to be uploaded onto the Facebook and Instagram and so on and so forth. It just didn't really go nowhere with that either because a lot of people kind of looked at me and laughed. They were like, "Good luck, dude. Like that ain't happening." I was just like, "All right, all right,
Right.
ball."
I
I'm
feel
just
like something like that would take off. I'm really surprised that a lot more active members wouldn't reach out to you on that sort of thing because there's a lot of people that may have never hunted before, and they got a bunkmate or a brother that they get super close to that maybe talks about it all the time, and it's like, well, hey, I want to go now.
Yeah, but I mean, like the ones that I did talk to about it, they would say that they were about it, and then they ended up just kind of scooting away from it. And I did have people laugh and, yeah, good luck. And I was just like, screw you guys then, I'm just going to go my own way.
Right.
And I called my family up and I told them, this is what you guys are doing. Because if it wasn't for my family, I wouldn't live the lifestyle that I live today. The whole hunting and fishing thing. Now, when it comes to the fishing aspect, um, my family, they told me the basics to fishing. The bass fishing, I taught myself.
Hmm.
I used to watch a lot of Bill Dance growing up, and um, I really wanted to go out and catch those. And my first one was like this big, like he was just like this little guy.
Right.
I was like, man, they are so pretty. Like looking at in person, even just that little fish. And I was like, I really want to go for something bigger. So when I got to South Carolina, I really started fishing my ass off, and I was catching largemouth bass on base in a gator-filled pond that was like brackish water. It was weird. I've never seen a brackish water pond until I got there. And
Right.
when I asked people, I was like, "Hey, are there any fish in these ponds?" No, there's a bunch of gators. And I was like, "Well, damn." But I soon found out that there were bass. I saw one blow up on a frog, and I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna try this out." And I went to Walmart that day, came back and fished that evening, and I tore that pond up. It was awesome. I was like, "Dude, this is great. I'm learning a lot right now." And before I knew it, I was out there fishing for quite some time. I didn't do a lot of filming. It was more like just pictures, just
Right.
keeping everybody updated. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. And then I got PCS orders to go out to Camp Pendleton. So I was only able to spend a year in South Carolina, which was like, damn, dude, like I'm loving it here. Like this is a nice place. I like this. You got your woods, the deer, the the bass, and then you got saltwater fishing if you want to, because they had shark fishing down there like crazy, like black tip, white tip, and I mean people were catching all kinds of stuff. And I really wanted to go over and try that, but I never really got the chance to.
Hmm.
So I ended up going to Cali, and it took me a whole year to figure out the bass out there. Don't know why, but when it came to the whole bass fishing out there, I was told by somebody who fished there regularly, somebody who lived there, like grew up there bass fishing. They told me that they could tell I was not from California because I was fishing way too aggressive for those fish.
Hmm.
How that's possible, I really don't know, because of bass, like that's one of the ways to catch them,
Right.
being aggressive and making them mad and getting those reaction strikes. I would throw jerk baits, and the crankbaits did work, but apparently they didn't work as well, I guess, where I was fishing, according to this guy. So I was like, all right, so what do you suggest I throw? And he said, rainbow, not rainbow, robo worm drop shot, uh, morning dawn color. And you just cast it out and then you wait. And I was like, well, he was like, yep, every now and then you just give it a little pop. And then if you feel weight there whenever you go to pop it, he said, pull back just a little bit. You'll still feel that weight, that tension. He said, reel down and just set the hook. Either it's a rock or it's a bass. I was like, okay. And my first California bass, I mean, a giant, dude. Like in my eye, I was like, holy crap, this is a big fish. It was only like 4.5 pounds. I want to say it was 4.5 pounds. I had another one up next to it. It was like 2 pounds. But I mean, that was cool. But I was like, no, that ain't it. I'm going to try to find a way to fish for these bass out here aggressively. And then the spawn happened the following year. I was like, ooh, this is cool. Because out there, like pretty much everywhere I went, the water's so clear, you're sitting in like 20 feet of water and you can see the bottom. So it's
Wow.
like, wow, this is like sitting on a sheet of glass. You're just looking down, and then you just find them. I would throw the Reaction Innovations Sweet Beavers with a little Big Bite Baits 1/4 ounce shaky heads, and I dropped that on them, and I wanted to see how they would react because I can see the white lure, and it's just bouncing along their beds. And I noticed that when that dorsal fin goes up, you're doing something right. If that dorsal fin stays flat, they're not interested at all. They might look at it or whatever, they might come over and just like kind of pick it up barely and then throw it off the bed. But when that dorsal fin's up, you really are pissing that bass off, and it just leave it sit for a minute and just give it the tiniest little twitches. That vibration is going to make it even more mad. And before you know it, they're slamming it. And I had so much fun out there. It was awesome, especially in spawn. So anywhere between like April to early June, you want to go out there and just sight fish, really. But I did learn a whole hell of a lot, and I found out that those tactics that I was using work the same in just about any water. It's just a matter of bringing that lure across the bed
Right.
or across the like little grass flat or something like that. I'll bounce those things in and out of the grass, except I run a weedless setup
Hmm.
whenever I'm doing that. But I mean, I learned a whole lot there, and then I finally got out, and then I come home. My first hunt out of the Marine Corps. Me and my little brother, Dylan, and my little brother Ethan, we set up. Two does come in from behind me, and I'm like, oh man, they're going right to Dylan. They came from behind us. Why, I don't know. Like, we had the wind in our face, and we were kind of hoping they would come crosswind from the bottom of where we were set up, and they came from straight behind us. I was like, whoa, okay, didn't expect that. But I got it all on video. I had to because I was trying to shoot for a video that I called Cross Country Dirt Nap.
Hmm.
And these does come walking up, and I'm like messaging my brother because I'm not thinking he knows they're coming. I'm like, dude, Dylan, behind you, to your right, to your right. And I guess he finally heard them, and then one of them spotted him. Didn't blow or nothing, but you can tell she just kind of stopped. She's kind of moving her head around a lot. I'm like, yeah, he's screwed up. I didn't know that there was two at the time. I thought it was just one. And then I hear him shoot, and I hear that bolt because he was shooting a crossbow. I heard that bolt smack that deer, and I was like, bro, did he really just do that on my first day back, like in the woods? Like, this is awesome. We just had so many good memories growing up in the woods, and I feel like I kind of went all over the place there, and I do apologize for that.
No,
But
no, buddy, you're fine. You know, you told me before that your mission for Devil Dog Outdoors is to bring back the brotherhood, and what you just explained is the brotherhood. Literally, your brothers.
Yeah, yeah. My little brother's being out there. I mean, I don't really like going to the woods by myself, and not often will I. I mean, I have, and I don't have a problem with it, but I mean, it just feels different. It's not right to not have somebody out there with you, especially in case something bad happens.
Right,
Going alone is kind of sketchy in the first place because accidents happen, and
right,
you never really know. You could fall, you could hit your head. Who knows? As long as somebody knows where you're at, I guess. But it's not like they could get there in time. They don't know exactly where you went. But if you
right.
go with somebody, like I hunt with my uncles, my cousins, my dad. And here just this year, I started planning hunts to go to Ohio with that dude that I was telling you about. His name is Tony. He lives up in Ohio, and he invited me to come up
Oh,
because
that's awesome.
that's my dream state to hunt.
Hey, that's my one of my top on my list, and I actually might make it there this year, depending on what happens here in Indiana
Mm,
during the season. Hopefully, I can get one knocked down, and a couple other risks. I can film some other getting knocked down. But I would like to do. I would love to bow hunt out there, but I don't think that's going to happen this year, and I might just save it for next year and
that's
maybe
what I was
plan
thinking.
something like I don't know, early October, maybe an early September hunt, or not early September, late September hunt, because their season comes in September. But I want to get to Ohio for sure. I know what you're saying.
Dude,
And
man, I just ever since I saw those bucks, I just for some reason when I was younger watching those VHS tapes, I do recall seeing a lot of Ohio white-tailed deer hunts and the size of them deer. And it's not necessarily the rack. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ohio's got some true giants when it comes to rack size, and there's a lot of trophy hunters up there. But I mean, like body size as well. They got some absolute monsters out there. Like I've seen pictures of guys sitting behind their deer, and I'm like, holy crap, that deer looks like he's pushing 250, 275, just laying there next to him. I'm like, that is a giant. And that's what I want. I want that experience too, because a lot of the videos that I've also seen from hunting Ohio, there's a there I forgot who said it. I was watching this video and this guy, he was out hunting and he had a nice eight. I'm talking an eight that if he walked by me here in Maryland, I'm I'm taking him out of the woods on public land. This guy's hunting public land.
mm,
He looked at the camera and he said, "We're gonna let him walk." I was told that if you see one buck, let him go because the one behind him's way bigger. And he wasn't lying. The very next buck that walked down that same trail that little eight walked by, well, I wouldn't really, I guess to him it was a little eight. And compared to the deer that he shot, it was like a 14 point, had tines going all over the place. I was like, good Lord, dude. I was like, I get it. Like that there's my dream.
so Maryland deer don't get that big.
They can, but here's my giant.
Nice. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that,
Dude,
and that
I
rolls
was
into my first topic: buck shaming.
I was happy with this deer.
Right,
I
and
was,
that's all that matters, buddy.
yeah.
Is a lot of people you see on social media. It may be somebody that hasn't hunted in 10 years. They don't know that. They don't know the backstory behind it. It
Mhm.
might be something like what you just showed, or even smaller. And these people just rip these other guys on social media. They'd have no. There's no reason for any of that. I don't think.
Right. And I mean, trust me, if I had one walk out in front of me, they'd probably be sitting here too. But
Right.
I've never really had one that I would get mounted on my wall walk out in front of me. I've had bigger bucks out in front of me, but they weren't like anything you got sitting behind you. Just trust me. If I had something like that sitting in front of me, like any one of them deer behind you sitting in front of me, I'd probably fallen out of my tree. Like I can already see it now. I couldn't imagine seeing a giant just walking out like that and giving me the shot like he did. He was standing 15 yards when I shot him.
That's awesome.
And I got that all self filmed too, which was super cool because my dad, my brother, and we hunted for more than half of the month last October. And I mean, it was dead every morning, every evening, nothing. And it was right around, I want to say October 28th or 29th. My brother and I, we had a little spike show up one morning to finally break that dead zone. This little spike bumps my brother's string, jumps like 6 feet, and then just stares at us and then casually walks off. I was like, that was really weird. Like, he was right underneath of my brother. My brother could have just like opened his legs and spit right between the little crossbars on the bottom of his climber and spit on the deer. That's exactly where he was standing. I was like, that's nuts. But November 5th, I had COVID at the time
Mm-hmm.
and I was off of work. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go quarantine in the woods. And
Right.
my dad had pointed out a tree to us shortly after we saw that spike, right after that hunt. My dad, like, we were kind of doing like some hunting scouting at the same time. Like, we were
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to leave, but on our way out, we were kind of checking some stuff out. We found there was a few trees that were rubbed on, and then it looked like a community scrape. My dad was like, if I was to hunt any tree, I'd hunt that one right there. And he pointed out this tree. It was right next to this like little shrub brush and some other tree. I'm not exactly quite sure, but it had a bunch of white oaks around the outside of it too. I was like, okay, yeah. So we got food source, rubs, scrapes, and it looks like multiple deer up in here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna set up over here my very first chance I get if my dad's not already in that tree. So November 5th comes around. I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm climbing that tree. He was like, all right, let me know how it goes. Well, like first light, it was too dark to get on camera. I had four does walk right across me. And I was like, all right, cool. That's a good sign. Hopefully one of them's hot because here we are the first week in November. It only takes one of them to start bringing all the bucks in. So I sat there. About 25 minutes later, I made like a little video with my phone talking about what happened and what I'm looking for that morning. And I've never had a hunt actually play out exactly like I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting up in the tree. Next thing you know, I see like some deer off in the distance, kind of the same direction where them does came from, and I can't really tell what it is. So I start hitting like the little Primo's doe bleat in a
Mm-hmm.
can. I started hitting that a little bit. I hit it like maybe 4 or 5 times, and I put it down. And then I hear something behind me, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I look down, and sniffing my dip spit is a little bug-eyed spike. I was like, look at this little dude. And he walks out, he stares at me. He's walking around in front of me for a little bit. And then there's a 3-point. And he's sniffing my dip spit. Like, they're right underneath of me. I was spitting skull apple.
There you go.
And I thought maybe that might help. I don't know. I have no idea what brought them bucks over. I have no idea. I mean, I want to say it was the bleats because it was probably about 35 minutes after I hit those bleats. They were right here underneath of me. Them deer were still sitting off in the distance. They didn't move. They just kind of kept chilling over there. It looked like they were eating the acorns that were over on that side of the ridge. So I told myself, I was like, I'm going to take him. The 3-point, the little three, I was like, I'm going to take him. So I stood up and he started walking in line with this tree that was in my way, this little tree. It had all these branches sticking off of it. I can see him clear as day, but I didn't have a clear shot whatsoever. And I said, if you give me a shot while you're walking away, I'm taking you. And he never gave me a shot. I was like, that's my sign. And I hung my bow up and I said, I'm not shooting him. I couldn't believe I was actually able to move around as much as I was actually able to that day. I had so many eyes around me. I got this little spike over here. I got this 3-point over here. I got those deer off in the distance. I don't know what else is around me. So then the 3-point actually turns around. He comes right back and he comes across me. I could have shot him, but I didn't. I already took my sign as like it's not his time to go. He didn't give me a shot the first time I was getting ready, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to shoot him here. He comes back. He goes behind me and he starts rubbing and scraping that tree and the scrape that was on the ground that we spotted. I was like, don't tell me that's the monster that we're, that we're hoping to see, dude. I was like, man, this is ridiculous. And then there was this little doe. She come walking down from the top of the hill, and she's just grazing. That buck, that 3-point, he just goes a completely different way. And I don't know why. All that other little spike, he went that way and kind of grouped up with these deer off in the distance. And then this little doe just like hung around me. Those deer kind of trickled away from my vision. I had no idea where they went. This little doe walks around me, circles up to my left, and then leaves. And I'm sitting there, and it's starting to get foggy. That sun's breaking the hill. I was like, man, it's getting a little too late. Maybe I won't be seeing anything else. It was a great morning, though, because I saw so many deer. I've never seen that many deer in a morning on public land, at least where I hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one in the woods that day. I know that because no other vehicles were there. I kind of got there a little later than I wanted to. But
It happens.
I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. I'm filming. The fog kind of lifting. The way it just looked breathtaking. I was just kind of soaking it all in. I was like, this is what it's about right here. Like those crisp mornings, you got that fog lifting and the sun's just peeking through the trees. Like it just looked awesome. And I did like a slow little pan with just my arm. I just kind of swung it around like this. And then I hop on my Facebook and I made a post. I said, a lot of deer activity this morning, just waiting for the bigger buck to show up. I hit post, put my phone back on my tripod, looked up, and that's when I saw him. I
Nice.
was like, get out of here, bro. He's walking right at me. So I went from posting that to filming now, and I'm like, okay, he looks like he's going to go over here. So I kind of set my phone up to where I want him to end up. Now, whether or not he ends up there, I have no idea. I'm guessing because this is how I self film. I'm like, all right, there is my lanes right there. If he steps in any of those windows, he's mine. Well, he finally got right next to me, and I go full draw, and you can hear that freaking arrow the whole way up that whisker biscuit on that
Mm-hmm.
PSE that I was shooting at the time. You just hear the arrow slide.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came to full draw, he picks his head up because I know he heard it. My bow just barely squeaked, and he heard that. He picked his head up. He looked at me. I didn't even have to get him to stop. That stopped him. And when I shot, there was a little twig. My arrow, the fletching on the arrow, like the top side, just caught that twig, and it threw the ass end of the arrow down towards the nock down, and then it caught flight and stayed upward, which was really weird. And I spined him. So he just fell right there. Scared the hell out of me because he just like crumbled. And I was like, holy crap. And then he rolled over, broke my arrow in half. And then I made my quick video. I was like, 6 point public land, self-filmed hunt, pretty awesome. I hit a damn limb. I'm going to do the right thing here, get down and finish him off because
Right.
I didn't want to jack around and let him bleed out because he was gushing, but the ethical thing to do right then and there in that moment would be climb down and put him down because
Right.
and that was I will say this, I don't know if anybody else who watches this has ever had to do this. I don't know if you've ever had to do this. Get down and stare a deer in the eyes and put them down out of their misery after a bad shot on the first one.
I've not. I've spawn shotted a doe before, but uh, she didn't live very long. I I understand what you're saying, and I was almost to that point where like, man, I better get down and do something, about this. And then she finally expired. But no, I've never had to do that. I've had a lot of people tell me stories about stuff they've done, or whatever, and that would be pretty tough. You don't
Yeah,
want
it
to
was
stare something down in the
definitely
eyes while you're doing that.
as a hunter, like you want those vital shots, you want those quick, clean, ethical shots. And as a bow hunter, we all know shit happens.
hmm
And that was one of the moments where shit happens. And that's not how I wanted it to end. But climbing down and seeing the deer know that I'm coming, like it was already getting to me. I was already starting to get like teary eyed. I was like, damn, man, like it just hits me a little different because as a hunter, I do respect the animals in which I harvest. And I was like, it's all, I literally said out loud, I said, it's all going to be over soon, bud. And I put it right where I needed it to. I
Right.
stood about 5 yards away from him. I've never had a deer 5 yards away from me like that
Right.
ever. And right after I shot, I walked away from him and I had to go back to my tree stand. And I just sat there and I was like trying to gather myself
Right.
because of everything that had just happened. But when he was finally like done, he had expired. I walked over, I cleaned him up a little bit before I started filming again,
hmm
and just ended the video from there. I started getting some pictures. I sent it to my dad. I said, Dad, I just shot this. He said, yeah, where'd you get that from? Facebook? I was like, no, Dad, I swear to God. And I called him and I was like, here he is. And I started calling everybody and nobody was able to help me drag that deer out that day. It was me
Oh,
by
that's the
myself.
worst, man.
Right.
You know, you always get that call. I got several friends that will call if they need help dragging something out. I don't think I've
Mhm.
ever had killed something and somebody not be around to help me. I always got somebody that I feel like I could call that would help me out.
Yeah.
But did you get any? Nobody gave you no shit for shooting that, did they?
There was a few people. Yeah. I posted on Facebook. Facebook is a war zone for that kind of, I guess, content. So
Right,
you want to post a deer you're happy with, someone else is not happy with your deer.
right.
And I feel like that is a huge issue. When you have somebody like me, so I don't really let haters get to me. I really don't.
Mhm,
And I address them because I want to make an example out of them for those that kind of let them get to them.
mhm.
I'd rather the haters come at me like bring it on, like come
Right,
right here, leave everybody else alone and let them, actually enjoy their experiences and sharing their content with people who actually are there to support them, which is what the outdoor community should be,
right,
not this divide. We already have enough hate as is from outside of the outdoor community. Why bring it within? And I mean, me as a content creator for hunting, fishing, like I can take the criticism and I can take all the hate and I try to twist the hate because like I said earlier, being bullied as a young child, it's like I was always told I was going to be nothing. I was going to be nobody. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I was too small or whatever. And I went and joined the Marine Corps. I got out and I was like, now I'm going to do something a little different. Like now I'm putting everything I got into Devil Dog Outdoors because now I have the time.
mhm.
Now I can do all of this and I want to take off. It's not that I want to be famous. It's I want to reach more people and try to make some kind of difference within the community because that's when I really started seeing like, wow, there's a lot of hate out there. Why? Why can't we just support one another? This is how it needs to
Right.
be. Like you don't know me from Adam and you're like, hey man, like come come on the podcast. I mean, are you down for that? And I was like, hell yeah, like
Right.
I'm all for it.
And I've talked about this on here before, kind of mirroring what you just said. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not even trying to be famous in the outdoor industry, if that's what you want to call it. We are
Right.
regular guys that love going hunting and fishing and trapping and everything else that you can think of. I just like sharing my experiences with everybody. You make incredible friends, and that's one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to the social media things is on the positive side of social media. You meet some really cool people that are genuine, like myself and you, that are, just regular guys that want to reach out to other people. I've made lifelong friends off of social media in the outdoor industry sort of stuff. And even like I'm a big racing guy, so I kind of like in the NASCAR community on Twitter and stuff like that. I talk to a lot of people. We meet up at races and have some beers and have a good time. That I feel like so many people focus on the negatives, but the positives I feel like sometimes outgrow those negatives
Oh
if you
yeah.
let them.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, it's just so the positive side, like you said, you get to meet some really cool people, and I have. And sometimes it's really hard for me to reach out, just me, myself, and I, like straight over to those people, like, hey, what's going on? Because sometimes, like, I've met and talked to so many people that it just slips the mind sometimes. And I almost feel obligated to apologize for not speaking to some of the people that have like actually had really good conversations with me. It's like I don't want them to think I forgot about them. It's like I know them. Anytime they hit me up, I will definitely respond as soon as I possibly can, as long as I'm not busy.
Hmm.
But I've met, like you said, some really genuine, nice people. That guy Tony I was telling you about, I met him on TikTok. He didn't know me from Adam, and he was like, "Hey, your dream state to hunt whitetail is Ohio. I live here. I have a tree stand with your name on it. I was like, wow, bro. Like, that is
Right.
crazy because I never, ever would have thought somebody would just be like, yeah, hey, man, come on up. Like, come hunt my property. Come hunt the deer that I have been watching for years and I've worked hard for managing, like
Hmm.
that's because I've gotten so accustomed to how people have been around here where I live. And I'm not saying that everyone around here is a bad person. It's just there's a lot of people that I have met. I've yet to meet somebody that's like, yeah, hey man, come hunt my property here in Maryland. And I'm not saying that people should just be like, yeah, hey, y'all want to hunt my property, like come wipe them all out. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm just saying like when it comes to like genuine people who actually are like extremely nice. Like the guy Tony, he heard me say that it's my dream to go hunt an Ohio whitetail buck. And me being in Maryland, I'm not far at all. I actually am. I'm only 5 hours from him.
Hmm.
That's not far at all. And
No.
he was like, I want to make that happen. So I mean, big shout out to Tony if he's watching this. That really meant a lot to me. I was like, holy crap! Like this guy, like you said, may just be a lifelong friend. And I'm not looking to hunt his property and his property only. I want to hit the public land. I
Hmm.
want to see what that's all about up there because I've seen a lot of great things about Ohio whitetail bucks. But I mean, the friends that I've made to everybody who's ever supported me on any kind of social media platform, I mean, it hits a little different sometimes because of some of the stuff that they say. And I'm not sure if you saw my video where I
Yeah.
was kind of tearing up. I feel like if I did not have that filmed, there would be no meaning behind that video.
Right.
I was literally out back and my wife had come out. She was telling me that she wanted to watch some movie with me, but she saw my face and she was like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Read that." And she was like, "Oh, that's really nice." And I was like, "It's not the first time I've seen something like this, though. Like,
And what did
why?"
I can't remember what the comment said. What did the comment say?
Um,
Didn't it say something like, "You just made my day for liking this," or something like that? Or
I had somebody make an entire video because I like three of their videos. They made an entire video and the caption was "no way" with like the wide-eyed emoji, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he just liked my videos." I'm like, why me? Like, I don't
right.
understand. But let's see, where's it at? Um, damn. Here it is. He said, "Almost shit my pants when I seen you liked one of my videos." Now, the reason why that one got to me the most is because I started thinking about every comment I've ever received like that or message where somebody was telling me that I inspire them. They want to be like me when they grow up. I've had little kids like message me and they're like, "I want to be like you. I want to live life like you when I get older." And I'm like, that is crazy. On my old account, I actually had a video showing one of my messages from a kid that said that. And I was like, wow, like I have that impact on somebody that's unreal. And that's more than what I could have ever imagined because that's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm not really trying to have people look up to me to want to be like me. I want to just make a change, make a difference, like
Hmm.
inspire people to kind of go that route like me if they would like to. Because if I can do it, anybody out there can do it, really, at the end of the day. That's how I see it.
Hmm.
And it just all got to me, man. And I was like, I have to record this and I have to say something about this. And if I'm not recording this now, it's not going to have as much meaning as I want it to have. So I was vulnerable to the world, bro. I was just like, this is going
No,
to
it
be
was really cool. I was pretty moved by it. Because sometimes when you get a comment like that, and you don't expect it, obviously, but it would tug at your heartstrings a little bit, make you feel a little emotional. There ain't nothing wrong with being a little emotional.
Yeah. I mean, I was just trying to keep my composure so I could get out what I wanted to say. And it was hard because I was like fighting it at the same time. But like I said, if I did not film that response when I did, because that was raw, that wasn't like a retake. No, this was one take. I'm telling you how I'm feeling right now. in this moment, seeing this comment and everything coming together.
Hmm.
It's just like, wow, like my family, they're proud of me. I know they are. They tell me all the time. And they tell me never give this up. Don't ever give this up because you're going places. And it's like, I would love to go those places, but if I don't, I'm not going to be upset at all because at the end of the day, I'm enjoying the outdoors and I'm showing everyone how I went about going my life. Those videos you're watching, that's my life. That's me you're watching. This is how I went about everything. And if there's anything you can learn from it, I hope somebody does. And if there's anything someone can teach me that maybe I'm doing wrong, I hope somebody does. Like, hey, man, try this. Cool. Like, awesome. I appreciate that. Now you're making me a better person out here in whatever I may be doing, whether that be hunting, scouting, fishing, whatever. I will gladly take some advice if somebody sees me doing something a little different than
Hmm.
what they're doing and seeing me struggle in certain areas. I'm all for it.
And that go back and talking about a little bit about your mission, and and you saying that you want to bring the brotherhood back. I would say, um, our mission collectively as a team here at Blue River Boat Hunting, I think our mission would be just helpful tips. Like for anybody, I don't care if you think that you know everything and you're 30 years deep in this, or if it's somebody that just now starting it, because I wanted to piggyback off people messaging you. I have people message me all the time asking for tips on what they should do, how they should look at an area, or maybe something has to do with the rut, maybe some scent stuff or whatever. And I will give them my 100% honesty of how I would do it. I'm not saying that is the right way. I'm saying that's the way that I do it.
Hmm.
But like, I don't know. I want to, just like you were talking about, the little bucks and all that kind of stuff. I just want people to have fun. Okay, that's it then. My mission would be have fun. Don't worry about what everybody's doing on TV or YouTube, Facebook, or whatever it is that you watch. You do you. I want you happy. If you're in the woods and you saw some little spike buck and you shot him and you're damn near in tears in the stand, that's what I want for you, because I just want you to have fun with it. Yes, I chase mature whitetails. That I play a certain game with them, and I enjoy that. What I shoot, the buck that I shot in Wisconsin last year, it's no booner. I think we scored it with the tape in the garage, and it scored like 113. I don't care about a score. I was chasing badass deer in the snow in October in Wisconsin, was having the time of my life, and decided to shoot this deer. People, I had people comment on the YouTube. I had to delete the comments because this deer came at a certain angle. I couldn't get the shot on film. You think I'm going to stop it from shooting that deer? No. I decided to take that deer when I saw him coming. I shot him. I mean, you can see me, when in the intro video that I put on these YouTube, I'm jacked up. I'm having the time of my life, and that's what I want for everybody. Have fun with this. There is no competition in this. You ain't going to get a reward for shooting bigger deer than somebody else. You might have a little bit more meat in your freezer or whatever. I got doughs for that, but just have fun with it. It's so hard. It's a
Absolutely.
broken record sometimes. These guys on social media think they're, you know, the baddest motherfucker that ever walked a planet to deer hunt, and I can tell you right now that you're not, because people are outdoing you in some shape, way, or form. But just have fun with it. Why make it a competition? You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know. I mean, like, it's one thing to joke, right? We can bust
Right.
each other's
Right.
balls every now
Absolutely.
and
You know
then.
what I mean?
There's one thing to just bust balls, and then there's another where you're really just being an asshole. It's like,
Right.
there's really no point in you coming at anybody. Like, dude, I saw there was a guy who posted a picture of his 12-year-old boy shot his first deer, and it was this little 4 point, and he had a jacked up antler on the right side. I saw good comments. Congratulations to your son. I saw good comments when it came to got the bad genetics out of that area. That antler's all kinds of jacked up because his like it came out and twisted. It was weird. I've
That's
never seen
wild.
that before. And then the hate comments. Why would you tell your son that deer was okay to shoot? Like what? Like why are you even worried about that right
Yeah.
now? Like this little kid is enjoying his first time harvesting a deer, And the look on his face is priceless in this photo. I wish I could pull it up just to show the camera the picture of this boy's face, because that right there is what it was all about. That was like, that is it.
I
That
mean, isn't
face,
that what it's all about? Isn't that what we're all chasing? Can you
right.
remember the first time you were sitting in a deer stand and you really got buck fever, or really got shook up? You can't even. It's
Dude,
not even cold, and you're sitting there shaking because you can't even control your adrenaline.
all
That's what
honesty,
everybody's chasing.
all honesty, this is just me as a hunter. I don't know what buck fever is. I get deer fever.
Right.
Dude, I see a doe and I'm like, oh, dude, bro, let her walk over here, because that's just, I'm so passionate about everything. And not only that, here in Maryland, you got 15 tags to burn on does. So that's probably another reason why it's really hard to find those giant booners and all those other giant bucks everywhere, because it's basically just show up to the woods, and if it walks, let it drop.
Right.
Like, that's pretty much how it is. And I mean, especially on public land, from what I've noticed, they don't care about the size. They just take it. And it's crazy. That's the crazy thing, too. I see a lot of hate on these Maryland hunter pages, right? On
Hmm.
Facebook, a lot of them. And those are the same people that don't post what they're harvesting. Those are the same people that are leaving the woods with deer, just like mine. Just like this.
Right.
Ain't no giant. And
Right.
somebody will post a picture of a deer bigger than theirs, and they're on there hating. And it's like, why do you have to do that?
All right. So I got a question for you that ties into all this outdoor stuff. Like, do you enjoy more watching deer hunting and stuff on TV, or do you like YouTube better?
I like YouTube better.
Same.
The reason why I like the YouTube hunting scene a lot better is because you're not watching somebody who's really, technically speaking, paid to do it. You're not watching somebody who's trying to. It almost seems like a reality TV show that
Right.
they start going into all kinds of different stuff. They're sitting on a side by side stuff. No, hell no. I want to see what this guy's doing that morning. I want to see his ride there, what he's got to say, what's going through his mind. I want to see what's going on in his mind while he's up in the tree. I mean, what kind of camera work is he doing? Because this is somebody who's just like me and you,
Right.
regular guy, just out in the woods, enjoying it and filming at the same time, just trying to share his experience. I feel like I can get more involved in that, because when somebody is self-filming like a public land hunt, just a regular guy, and he does have a giant walkout on him, it's a whole lot different than watching these people that are hunting these, 3, 4, 5 acre food plots and on land that they've been managing for God knows how long. You've heard of Dury Outdoors, correct?
Mm,
And I'm
yep.
not trying to hate on them by any means. I've
Hmm.
actually watched their shows. I actually enjoy a lot of it because
Same.
they have the deer cast and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
I've learned a lot from those guys. They have helped out a whole bunch. But those guys, I mean, it seems like every year they're killing a 200-inch deer.
It's
Every
funny. My spy
year.
point just went off. I decided not to hunt tonight, and I have a basket rack at 40 yards from my stand.
Oh,
Not
no.
that I would shoot that basket rack, but it's kind of funny. It just popped up or whatever.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I
But
want
yeah,
to invest in those. How are those, by the way? Let me ask you that.
okay. We've I think we got 5 of them altogether, and we did have an issue at the beginning of the season. When I say season, I mean summer, because that's when we start putting them out again.
Mhm.
We had trouble with them because the it needed updated. The malware needed updated. I kind of had an issue figuring it out. Once I figured out, I have people that call me almost weekly. Hey, will you fix my spy point for me? Not that there's anything wrong with the spy point, that it just needs updated, and I can do it in a matter of less than 5 minutes. I've done them for the neighbor, my buddy. Everybody's hitting me up because I figured it out. If you didn't take the time to figure it out, it probably would piss you off quite a bit. But
Mhm.
I think there's several payment plans that you can do as far as like per month and how many photos you get and blah blah blah. I think I
Mhm.
paid $10 a month for 2 of them, so $20 a month, and I think that's like I want to say like 8 or 1,000. It's 1,000 pictures per camera per month. They don't go off that much. But I don't want to be the person that's got some giant. You see one picture of him and then your thing's filled up for the month. I'd be like, oh my God, I'd be I'd be so distraught I wouldn't even know what to do.
All right.
But Spy Point, overall, I know a lot of people, especially on social media, trashing them, running them through the grass. You know, people have stuff go wrong in their companies, and they got to figure it out just like anybody else has got to figure out, especially when you have so many people. I'm sure the networks and all that stuff, tons of tech that goes into it. Shit happens, but I have never really had a problem with them. But
That's
I would recommend them.
yeah.
There's other ones that you can use that are more expensive. To buy the Spy Points that we have, is the LTE Lite or whatever. I think they're like $150. You can catch them on a sale in the summer. They usually sell one for $100, and I've even seen Bass Pro do two of them for $100. Sometimes you might just get lucky, but Muddy does one. I mean, there's a ton of other people that do them, and I've heard hit and miss on all those too. So I'm sure it's just that part of the game that people are going to have problems with. I've never really had a problem with the Spy Point, and I'm not going to sit here and promote them to death, but I use the hell out of it. And they've upgraded their app now. You can actually mark the camera on a map, and it'll show you where your cameras are at, shows you the weather. I use other apps for all that kind of stuff, but it kind of brings it all together and puts you can set the sensitivity levels in the camera, the delay, all from your phone. So
That's pretty cool.
And they'll tell me battery life. Like the one I just checked a second ago, I saw it had 30%. It's been going off a lot lately. I know that I need to probably get in there and change those batteries at some point. You know what I mean? So my next question comes from Twitter, from David Yeater on Twitter. He's the West Virginia Turkey Thug on Twitter. His question to you is, how do you balance work, family, and the outdoors?
Well, my job's pretty simple. I work from 6:30 to 3 o'clock, and early season that's like perfect.
Right.
My wife has no plans for us in the evening time. I usually tell her like the day prior, obviously just letting her know. And sometimes it's been like the day of, like, hey babe, I'm going to the woods. I'm going to make something happen here.
Right.
And she's totally cool with it. I get down, I get home kind of late. Sometimes it really all depends. And, I mean, sometimes that can be frustrating for her. I know it can. And then I feel like, oh shit, I kind of owe her something, like I got to figure out, I guess, a better way of doing it, like balancing that out, in all honesty. Like, it is tough because I don't want to be the husband that's just like always gone every season,
Right.
like I would love to go do more things, but most of her activities is just, just chilling out at the house. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. She
No.
just doesn't like to go out and drink anymore like she used to. And now she's pregnant, like
congrats.
that's like a huge thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's like a huge thing now too. So it's like, she's not going to have the energy to want to go out and do all this stuff. I mean, now her ankles and feet are swollen, her knees are killing her, and it's like all starting to hit her now, like hard. And I'm like, oh shit, like it's just going to be hanging out. I haven't been hunting in like a week and a half now. I haven't been out in the woods. I've just been trying to spend time with her and getting ready for the rut to come up, if that makes sense,
Oh, absolutely. I kind of chose family over hunting this past weekend. We had Halloween stuff at the local campground. We always go rent a little cabin down there and decorate the place. And, the kids are trick-or-treating, the adults are drinking, and then, everybody's fixing food and having a good old time,
Mm-hmm.
And I hunted that morning, and I just planned on going and hanging out for a little bit, watching the trick-or-treating, and I was going to go hunting again. And I was like, man, my son, he's getting ready to turn 5 next month. So I was like, he's only so little for so often, and I got plenty of time for the rest of the season. I'll just, hang out with them the rest of the day. And then it ended up getting really windy. Like my buddy Ryan sends me the picture. His bow's on the hook, in the stand swaying because the winds got so high. And I was like, well, I'm glad that's kind of paid off for me. It wasn't worth the shit tonight anyways,
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that, like, when those winds, so this is what confused me. So when we were talking about Dirty Outdoors and how they've helped out a lot, they said that they've noticed, like, when they have winds from 10 to 20 miles an hour, they see more deer activity. And I'm like, where? Are you talking about your fields? Are they out in the fields more? Because I've noticed that if the wind hits like 9, 10 miles an hour, you're probably not going to see anything in the timber because it's so loud in there. Like
Right.
you got the acorns falling, making a bunch of noise. You got the leaves still falling, the trees rattling, swaying back and forth. I've noticed them deer do not like moving when the woods is loud itself.
Right.
And if they are more on edge. You might catch them jumping from one bed to the next, but I've noticed they will take their time walking through the woods when it's loud like that. I just never understood the whole 10 to 20 mile an hour range. And I'm like, where exactly are you hunting with 10 to 20 mile an hour winds all the time?
I've never had any luck in high wind situations, and like last weekend, last Saturday night, I went and hung out for the Halloween stuff. My neighbor Adam, his buddy Birch, shot a giant. I mean, I saw my buddy's bow in the video. It's just rocking because the winds are so high, and
Mm-hmm.
then my buddy Ryan that I talk about on here a lot, that I film most of the time. He shoots a 153-inch 8-pointer last year. Guess how high the winds were that day? 65 miles an hour hurricane force winds. He shoots his 153-inch 8-pointer. He got lucky because it was in the rut chasing some does and made a huge mistake.
Ah,
But
gotcha.
still,
Yeah,
it's still 65 mile an hour winds. I was like, I ain't going hunting. I'll fall out of the tree.
right. I'm not sitting up in no tree swaying like that. Nope.
No.
When it got up close to 20 last year, me and my dad, we set out with that's the one thing we didn't do last year. There was a hunt where we went out and didn't check the winds. It was kind of breezy early that morning. It wasn't like too bad, but there was a wind. And I was like, I'm actually liking this because, it's kind of solid, it's like a
Hmm.
steady wind. I think it was blowing at 5 to 6. And I don't mind that. 5 to 6 is fine. But dude, as soon as the sun came up and it just peeked through the trees, out of nowhere, I'm like this. I
Right.
was like, holy shit. And I was like, hey, Dad, I'm freezing my ass off and I'm rocking up here like we're in a rock concert. And he was like, yeah, I'm getting down. I was like, I'm right behind you. So we
I got a
climbed
fu-
down and we got the hell up out of there.
I got a funny story from my early 20s when it comes to hunting in high winds. It was Thanksgiving morning, but I made a huge mistake the night before. Everybody parties the night before Thanksgiving where we're from. It's everybody goes out, and it was one of my buddy's birthdays that I worked with. He's like, "Come on, take me out for my birthday." Okay, man, I ain't got nothing to do besides eat food tomorrow, so let's go. Halfway through the night, I realized that I told my little brother where we go deer hunting in the morning, which it's a tradition for us to go deer hunting on Thanksgiving morning, and
Same.
we get up there and I'm super hungover is an understatement, and that tree is just rocking, and it's like 18 degrees outside, froze to
Mhm.
death. I told him, looked at him like, I'm not gonna last much longer, buddy. I think I might get sick. He goes, I'm frozen anyways. Let's get out of here. I'm like, thank you, dude. Let's go. Let's go. I think we ran into the truck almost. I thought it was kind of funny, high wind situation. But
Yeah.
another topic that I kind of wanted to hit a little bit is this, pro staff. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. Pro staff. Sponsorship kind of thing. I feel like it's ruined people on every aspect of social media and the outdoors. Everybody wants to be the pro staffer. Everybody wants to be sponsored by this and sponsored by that instead of just enjoying them themselves out in the woods.
Mhm. So I think so for pro staff, I can understand the pro staff point of view. They're just looking to get those discounts, and
Right.
then work towards getting sponsored. So now you're getting free stuff. They're sending you baits, new tackle that's probably not even on the market yet. When it comes to the fishing side, the hunting side,
Right.
I'm not too sure. I don't know nothing about that stuff. I mean, I could see maybe the guys that you find on the outdoor channel receiving like a brand new Matthews that's not even on the market yet. Like, here, guys, take this out and explain everything. Details are all right here, and just give it a thumbs up, even if it's bad. And I think that's kind of wrong, but that's
Right.
my personal opinion. I think that's what goes on behind the scenes. These guys are sponsored, these guys are paid, these guys are getting all this free stuff that's thousands of dollars. And of course they're going to talk it up. They want more people to buy. So if these big guys are on TV using it and they're shooting these monster bucks, well, I guess if I'm shooting the same bow that they're shooting, I'll get a buck like that to walk out in front of me. It's like, no, it's not how that works.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people are fooled by that.
Absolutely. So, do you think the outdoor industry, when it comes to a lot of these companies, I'm not going to throw names out there by any means, but manufacturers of bows and guns and clothing and boots and blah, 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 do you think they've kind of ruined some of the outdoor stuff, just the whole outdoor experience as a whole with some of the stuff that's going on?
Um, to a certain extent, they've made it more like a rich man's sport. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like they've definitely turned it into a rich man's sport. Um, like my grandfather sees some of the prices for this camo that they have out now. Again, like you, I won't be saying any brands.
I can already imagine what the name that you're thinking of right now.
Yeah, I mean through the
Yeah,
roof.
it's like $1,200 for a pair of bibs. For one,
Yeah,
I don't like the camo pattern to begin with. I prefer other things. And who in the hell is going to pay $1,200 for a pair of bibs when you can get something I would think is better at Cabela's or Bass Pro and even Walmart and Rural
yeah.
King and stuff like that? I don't know if
Dude,
they have those where you're at.
they sell real tree at the Walmart. They sell mossy oak at the Walmart right down the street from my house, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't. There's a lot of people. I feel like people look too much into the camouflage, and they start falling over all this. Oh man, this is like the top of the line. This is like the best stuff. So I have to
Right.
get it. I have to get this. I have to get that because those guys, those big name people that you see out there are using it. These guys are talking it up. And look at how close he got to that deer wearing that camouflage, using that bow or that rifle. Like, I need all of that stuff. And I mean, if you really want all that stuff, at the end of the day, you need to make a lot of this to get all of that. And it's not me. The way that I am, it's like if I don't have to break the bank to use this stuff and be just as successful if given the opportunity, like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go the smart route and not dump a whole bunch of money. But like to answer your question, I feel like a lot of those brands and stuff like that, they're money hungry and they've definitely turned both hunting and fishing into a rich man's sport. I feel like if you want like the best of the best stuff, you're going to spend a good bit of money
Right.
on a lot of different things.
And I feel like people like me and you that, sounds like you're more into the fishing game, compared to hunting, and I'm more into the hunting game than the fishing. But, people like us that have gone through tons and tons of product, and then you find something that you like, and then you start using something that you like. Like, I'm a huge scent blocker guy. I love all their clothing. I love the bibs. I love the jacket. I love just about the bags. I mean, it's just something that I prefer,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been good to me. They're it's not that expensive, and it's keeping me warm outside when it's really cold. So I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
of course, and who wouldn't, you know?
Right.
But I mean, everybody's gonna have their own preference
Right.
at the end of the day. I mean, if you got the money to drop, like you said, $1,200 on bibs, good on you.
Right.
Like, congratulations, man. Like, you must be doing really good work out there in the world, doing real good things for yourself and your family, you know? But I've always said, and I even my wife knows this. I told her, I said, I would never, I don't care how much money I make in a year, I will never drop that much money on something as simple as clothing.
Right.
I don't care how warm they claim it keeps you in whatever temperatures, I don't care. Because for so many years, I've used the cheapest stuff and still find success. So,
Absolutely. What do you, if somebody was to ask you, somebody just getting into the outdoors, maybe like even fishing, hunting, whatever, and they start asking you, let's do an example. Let's say somebody wants to get into deer hunting for the first time. What's something that you're going to tell them? What's an example of something that some tips or pointers or something that you would tell them to help them out?
Hmm. I will say practice quite often with what you're planning on using.
Right.
Definitely building your confidence up. Um, Take a rangefinder.
Yeah,
Please,
right. I wish
please
I would have
take a
learned that lesson at
rangefinder.
a young age.
Yeah,
They didn't
take your
have those when I was young. I
take
can
take your
remember.
rangefinder to the woods, so this way you're even more confident in a shot that may be presented to you while out there in the woods.
Right.
Those shakes aren't going to go away right away.
No, for sure.
um, no, but shit. In all honesty, that's a hard question.
It is,
It really
that's
is
kind of why
because
I ask it because, I have a cousin. This is his first year. He hasn't been out yet. He doesn't have a bow. He's going to gun hunt for the first time ever, and he pulls it off the right way. He knows that I'm super into it. He literally will, because we work together. He will
mhm,
literally pick my brain for the half-hour break that we got. It's nonstop questions, and I'm like, man, this guy he really wants to know, So I lay it all out to for him as much as I can. But I feel like also it could be an overload of information. I'm trying to tell him,
right.
how to, because he's going to hunt some public land. And I'm trying to tell him, look at some aerial maps before, even go check it out now and know where you're going if you're going to be going in the dark. Map it out on something where you can kind of follow a trail that you found a little spot you might like to sit or something like that. I try to
Mhm.
tell him about the wind and the scent and all that kind of stuff, and I feel like he's playing it pretty well. But it was just kind of a question that I had thought of because
I
I work
feel
with
like
him.
to better answer that question, I would actually have to I don't know, kind of like you said, your cousin, right?
Right,
Yeah, your cousin is asking you specific questions about everything, so now you kind of have a better way to answer him because you know what he's asking.
right,
So when it comes to tip, it's like there's so much that goes into hunting. I really don't know where to start. And like you said, I don't want to overload their brains with a bunch of stuff and start getting them worried or scared or like confused at all
hmm
in any way. I don't want to ever mislead or guide somebody in the wrong direction.
hmm
It's like, what are you looking for specifically? Like, if you ask me a specific question when it comes to the hunting side, I will gladly help you if I know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I will try to point you in the right direction that you could find the answer. And hell, I'm going to find out the answer as well because
right,
that's something that I may not even know. Because, like you said, nobody knows everything.
right.
People can feel like it, people can act like it. But I feel like if you're not learning something every time you go out, why are you doing it?
Yeah, you're not paying attention to anything then.
Right.
But that kind of brings me back to how many times have you went to do something that you had never done before? What is the first thing you do? You either Google it or you YouTube it. Changing your brakes on your truck. Maybe you never done it or something like that.
YouTube is
Everybody
definitely.
always YouTubes it or Googles it. And he said, I've been watching some YouTube videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, show me what you've been watching. So he starts pulling it up, and it's regular guys. I'm like, I was thinking to myself, God, I'm so glad you found this over some other things out there. But he actually like typed in on YouTube, I think it was somewhere along the lines of where should I sit when deer hunting. And there was actually videos of guys, putting up tree stands or blinds and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. I wonder if my stuff ever pops up if somebody's actually YouTubing something.
Right. Hell yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm super glad people actually take the time out of their day to do like videos like that. So somebody who actually knows like the whole concept behind hunting, you kind of get the basics, the gist of it, your tree stand, whether that be a lock on, a ladder, or a climber, and now they have the saddle. That was new to me. I was like, what the hell is that damn thing? And then I saw it. I was like, I don't know if I could trust myself in something like that. Like, that's just me. Somebody's telling me. I had a few people tell me actually that I should try that out and that I would absolutely love it. And I was like, I'm good. I'll stick to my Viper, and
Me too. I like my
that'll
Viper.
be that'll be it. That'll be it for me. But yeah, I mean, to someone like us that knows this stuff, like you'll see those hate comments in those videos when they're just helping somebody like your cousin who's new to it.
Right.
Somebody will be in there and it's like, we all know how to use a tree stand, bud. Like, why are you making this video like we don't know? It's like
Right. Well,
you're
some
not
people don't know.
right. It's like you're not the audience, but like you're part of it, but you aren't the only one watching the video. Like there's people out there that are just now picking this stuff up. Like nobody's ever really taught them. So that video is there to educate. Like if you don't like it, dude, just move on about your day. Like why is
Right.
that so hard?
Right. Well, I appreciate you coming on here with me and, talking about some of these stuff on social media and stuff like that and sharing your story about you and Devil Dog Outdoors. And I definitely want to have you back on at some point. Maybe you have a fishing story or a hunting story or something for us. Or, I'm not really that big into fishing. I would love to be. Maybe I'll ask you some questions about fishing or something, try to figure it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love bass fishing. That's definitely like a strong suit for me. And when it comes to the whole deer hunting thing, I mean, after the 5 years of Marine Corps, it just kind of pulled me out of that for them 5 years. I mean, I was able to go out when I was home, but I would only hit the woods like maybe 2 or 3 times if I was lucky enough to hit the woods 3 times. Like two was like the most I was actually able to get out and go hunt and stuff. So I mean, it was definitely rough, and it kind of pulled me away from what I love doing. Like I love hunting too. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but I may not be as knowledgeable when it comes to the whole hunting side of things as I am when it comes to the fishing. I've learned a whole hell of a lot, and I still am learning a whole hell of a lot. I'm trying to get down different types of lures and so on and so forth. But I'll save that for next time, just in case you actually do get me back on here. I would love to be back on here. I appreciate you
Yeah, man.
actually asking if I would like to be on. This was super awesome. I absolutely am super impressed with how everything is set up and how you have everything going, especially for just starting out. Like if this is what it looks like for you just starting out, I can only imagine how far you're actually going to be going when it comes to setting everything up and the professionalism that sets here within this podcast. Like I can only imagine what that's going to look like. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see what the future holds for
I
you, of
appreciate
course.
that, man. That's
I
some
love
kind
seeing
words, man. I
success, man.
appreciate that.
Hell yeah. I love seeing the success out here. This is awesome. I mean, this is like kind of, I wanted to do kind of the same thing, but I couldn't stick with it. I just fell short. I didn't have the whole camera set up. This is definitely by far the most professional setup that I have actually seen and been invited to be a part of. And I'm
I
super glad
appreciate
I
that.
could be a part of
If
it.
you like this sort of thing, maybe I can have somebody else on one night, and I can actually three screen this. I can have three people on here. Might have somebody cool. Maybe your buddy from Ohio or something. Talk some Ohio whitetails. Get him on. Talk it out. Maybe you actually get to go there or something, and we can talk about it and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hell, that's all up to you. We'll talk
Right.
more about that off the camera, though.
Absolutely. Well, tell everybody before we get off here. Tell everybody where they can find you at on all your social media
They
platforms.
can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Devil Dog Outdoors, and you will definitely find us. That's Devil Dog. I know I sometimes it sounds a little weird the way I say it. I don't know why. Somebody thought I said double dog, and I'm like, no, Devil,
Devil Dog.
Devil. So Devil Dog Outdoors. You'll
Well, that's
find us
cool.
there.
Hopefully, you guys are still listening or watching this, and we appreciate you here. And give us a subscribe or a follow or a like or a comment. Tell us if you guys like these shows, and we're plugging away in the tree stand trying to get you guys some more film. I know we put the one video out there from the first week of season where we had quite a bit of action going on. I could throw something out there. Been pretty slow since then. But thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day.
Have a good one, y'all.